It is my greatest honor and privilege to have been your president.
We'll always be with you. No one's ever really gone.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. I woke up this morning. I actually didn't know that Trump's alternative to Twitter is a Twitter clone, let's be real. But so is Getter and so is Gab for the most part. Although Gab still, in my opinion, holds the illustrious most free category for me. You know, it's as close to absolute free speech as you're going to get online. It's also got the most security, the most backup systems to stay online. But Truth Social is trying to be this mainstream thing. So there's a couple of conflicting schools of thought around it. But the absolute copium going on Twitter all day has been hilarious, as hundreds of thousands of people appear to be joining Trump's Truth Social. It's the #1 app in the App Store, and it's only available on iTunes so far, meaning desktop and Android users haven't even been able to touch it yet. And everyone's on Twitter is trying to pretend like, oh, big deal. Ah, it's no big deal. Ah, it's no big deal. They also continue to maximum cope about the problems that it's having. You know, it's definitely been a bumpy launch for it. But name a major software release in the last 5 years that wasn't disastrous, but somehow, because Trump's attached to it, it's a news story, a bumpy launch. It's literally a beta launch. It's not supposed to launch until like March, I think. So it's just much ado about nothing. And these people are going to absolutely cope and seethe for months until they get it offline. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Will it actually stick around? I have some thoughts about all of that and what's going on with it after a quick word from this video's sponsor. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access VPN. Look, it's 2022. Everyone should be using a VPN by now. They unlock content, they provide an immense amount of privacy, and much more. From a privacy standpoint, not using private internet access would be like forgetting to mute yourself on Zoom and then talking about your coworkers. For a unblocking content worldwide, watching Netflix without private internet access is like paying for an entire spa day, but only getting a facial. Private internet access unlocks content, it adds an extra layer of protection, it conceals your internet traffic, your true IP, yours alone. You can access your favorite content, region-locked content. There are thousands of worldwide server locations, and I've been working with private internet access so long, they have a massive discount for you, my subscribers, when you use the link in the description or in the pinned comment down below. So get protected, get access to all the content you deserve, and save huge by using my custom link in the description or pinned comment down below to get private internet access today. Now, if you just look at the news feed around Truth Social, there are hundreds, thousands of articles. There's new articles coming out every minute about Truth Social, and basically all of it is negative. And I understand why. Look, there are a lot of things that you could poke fun at. Yes, Truth Social is a Twitter clone. But again, so is Getter, so is Gab, so whatever. It also isn't exactly a free speech haven. In fact, it's being lauded as family friendly. It still has hate speech type of restrictions on it. But I think that only really matters to a small percentage of people. And maybe you count yourself as that. But what I think the issue is, or what people are glossing over, is Donald Trump. I don't know how many followers he had at the time he was banned from Twitter. Tens of millions, okay? Was it like 70 million or some insane number, right? At least 20% of those people are diehards, meaning, he's going to bring 20, 30 million people over, almost certainly, if he's active on the platform. Then every single time he tweets something on there, what's going to happen? Everybody on Twitter is going to lose their mind posting screen captures of it, and thus creating free press for Truth Social. Every journalist is going to write nonstop about, what Trump said on his social media platform, creating more press. If you think of things from like a normie perspective, even though what we know about Parler, yes, Truth Social was also hacked. They need to get that stuff cleaned up. But there was massive interest in Parler when they banned Trump. They would have had millions of new users had their servers been able to handle it. And that's what we're seeing now with Truth Social. A site that, again, you see here, it's literally #1 currently in social networking. There's not much to it. It's just like Twitter. It's got video, it's got, all these kind of things. Not much to say. Here's their website. If you have an iPhone, I think you can get on the wait list. I've seen some screenshots where people are like 150,000 on the wait list. I don't know if that's actually true, but what I do know is when they get on the Google Play Store, that's going to be an even bigger market, I think. I think that Trump's base is more Android user than iPhone. I don't have any actual reason to say that. I just feel like it. And here's the other thing. Anything that disrupts the market, I think, is good. And while I don't think Truth Social is going to topple Twitter, there's a couple of reasons why I think that. But I do think it can be sustainable if Trump is active on it, because he has tens of millions of people that want access to him. And there's literally no place currently where people can get access directly to Trump unfiltered, other than these like weird press releases he puts out that get retweeted around Twitter. And those don't really feel like you're interacting directly with him. Trump was so popular, both unpopular and unpopular at the same time, that people made careers out of being Trump reply guys in his Twitter replies. People forget that this woman sued him because he blocked her because she was making her career after being a Trump reply guy. It was pathetic, and won, by the way. But I don't think Truth Social has to topple Twitter. What it has to do is remain relevant and remain interesting for its users. I've been thinking a lot about Twitter, and it just seems like it's getting more and more toxic. And I think it's probably because more and more of my base isn't using it anymore. Because when I interact with people on Getter or Gab, it's always fun and interesting. And I am aware that it's an echo chamber, so I try to maintain on Twitter. But God, people are just so toxic on Twitter. And part of the problem that Truth is going to have is the people that are addicted to hashtag owning the libs. They're going to have to find that someplace else. Truth Social, which I don't love the name, by the way, but also you're going to have a situation where, Trump, if he's using it actively, he's going to bring millions and millions of users to the platform. I wish he had joined Parler and Gab at the time of his banning, but he didn't. The other thing is, if he's using it, journalists will be forced to use the platform, and they will not be able to resist interacting. Whether or not people are interacting with Trump directly on his Truth Social, if he's using it, people are going to nonstop be writing articles about it. Now, for the people that are upset that it's not an absolute free speech type platform, I hear you. I understand exactly why you feel that way. And that's why I think Gab is for you. I use Gab and I love it. And it's the most insulated against big tech censorship of all the platforms. However, Gab is not going to get 20 million users overnight like Truth Social is capable of doing. So for the mainstream normies, Truth is a real opportunity. Now, is it junk technology? Is it going to get hacked? Is it going to get DDoSed? All these things? Yes, probably. And that's a major problem. Like, I hope he invested the real money in cybersecurity, and real money in keeping the servers up and growing, and really has a plan for it. Because, I think that any app, there's a monopoly, essentially. It's like as close to a monopoly as yes, it's, I guess, technically an oligopoly, but really it's the Android store, the Google Play Store, and everybody else, right, who have web versions or downloading APKs or this kind of stuff. In order to have access to the Google Play Store and the Android store, the Google Play Store and the iTunes Store, you have to agree to their overarching terms of service, which means you must have stupid hate speech restrictions. You must have limits on what people can say. And I respect people that say, I don't want to be supporting a platform that, doesn't allow me to say whatever I want. I get that. But for me, I look at it from also a different perspective where on principle alone, I support any and all alternatives that may disrupt the market or may weaken places like Twitter. And if they can maintain where Parler failed before they were deplatformed and where Getter is currently failing, is it's not keeping people off Twitter. People are using Getter and Twitter, and they're not switching to it exclusively except for just a few examples. My interactions on Getter are about as good as what I get on Twitter, even though I have far fewer followers on Getter. But I remember Parler launching, and I was getting thousands of interactions per post, and it was like a whole world where I was like, oh my God, this is what it's like to not be shadow banned. This is so amazing. I guess where I'm going is I think the primary difference between Truth Social and Getter, and where Parler failed, is if Trump can overcome all of these technological issues, which I am suspicious he will be able to, if he's allowed to stay on these platforms, Google Play and Android, his presence alone, if he is active on it, it will keep it interesting. It will keep people coming back. Like if this dude is sending out tweet threads at 2 a.m. every day, tweeting all day long, or truthing all day long, as they call it, I can assure you that people will absolutely be using this platform. It launched Monday morning looking very similar to Twitter, but as more people downloaded the app, they went through a sign-up process, ended up being put on wait lists. The app already has more than 150,000 users, and this is at 7 a.m. I'm telling you, this number's in the millions by now. By the millions. And Twitter coping and seething about it, like, oh, it's just so dumb, whatever, blah, Truth Social. They're still talking about it. It was #2 trending worldwide on Twitter, which I thought was hilarious that Twitter would even allow it. Like, if Trump is on there, like, just roasting people all day long, that will keep people on the platform for a while. And it will bring ad revenue to the platform, which is what's so important to keeping places like Twitter and YouTube alive. You have to have ad revenue. You have to have users. Yeah, it's #1 on the top of the charts on iTunes Store, but it's a brand new app on launch day, so you would think so. But don't underestimate the power of the normies. Like a lot of people, I'll create an account and I'll wait and see. But if he's on there tweeting a lot, it's going to be a wild couple of months, especially with the midterm elections coming up and obviously the 2024 presidential elections coming up. That will be enough to keep Truth interesting for several years. After that, who knows? If it survives 6 months, I'll be surprised, but you better believe I'm going to be on there having fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.